all out where I owed him money.
Bloody hell.
Oh, and I crashed because it took me 4 years to get into court after he wiped out all that child support. It took me 4 years to get into a court where a judge kept putting it off for 3 months every time, and I was in a different province at that time. So I had a provisional order that said all you have to do is confirm the order, which means compare my evidence to the evidence that was already submitted. It's not like my ex had any more information to share. That wasn't the way the law was supposed to work. According to the evidence he had already submitted, based on the new information that I was presenting, because he went to court without serving me. So all we had to do is confirm, was his information correct? He had no information. He went in front of a judge and said the kids live with me, didn't provide any evidence, said he wasn't working, so he didn't provide any evidence as to income or anything. I gave them his pay stubs. I gave them school records in a different province than what he was living in. I proved everything beyond a shadow of a doubt. Judge wouldn't even hear it. He would put it off for 3 months, then put it off again for 3 months. I asked for an interim support while he kept putting it off. He denied it. All my kids are in court because they're all waiting to see this thing get finalized, and he says no. So the third time when we get in front of there, they said we're not even going to look at it because it took you too long to get to court. And then that brilliant lawyer had me pay 3 years advance child support for the daughter that lives with me. So welfare financially supports her because I crashed and burned from then. As soon as I see, no, I can't fight this system. So they have been financially supporting her until she was 18. She was 16 at the time. Meanwhile, he had $100 a month advance child support till she was 18. So technically, the government paid a deadbeat $100 a month child support for a child that never lived with us. And I get people posting on my channel that I'm the social problem because I'm on welfare and I'm lazy and stupid and don't want to work.
And I wonder how many are on welfare but not prepared to say that, even though they're probably in your channel coming out with it.
Most people that are on welfare don't have a computer. It takes an awful lot. It was a life mission to no damn way are you getting away with this shit. I will take whatever it needs to be done to fix this, which means I had to find a way of communicating again, because you can't communicate this. How do you communicate this problem when everybody says you're stupid and crazy? You will take on stupid and crazy just by people saying you're stupid and crazy. So I had to have a lot more strength to overcome that level of negative energy and not be turned into that. So that's one thing I've been working on, is trying not to be affected by it, but I know I do, which is why I smoke, because it's still very negative energy that I can't fight against, because I do feel the world is friggin' against me. And it's really painful to know that the friggin' world is against me and doesn't want to listen. And it's like, I am fighting for you. If you are the taxpayer, I am fighting for you to let you know where your money is going to. That police should have got paid. They got paid to do a job that they didn't get paid to do. Like, they got paid but didn't do their job. There's judges that got paid an awful lot of money that didn't do their job. You know, none of this would have happened if everybody did their jobs.
What turned him into a deadbeat? I mean, surely at the beginning of marriage, everything was
No,
fine.
I left him because he wasn't supporting his family.
Ah,
We had when I left, we had just let me get rid of this bird. You're a little too loud for me. No, when I left, we got our third bank loan to combine all our loans, to combine all of the credit cards, you know, all of the loans that, because he was making good money. He was working in the oil field, you know, making really, really good money, but then coming home and spending it on himself. You know, we had a trailer that I got. I found the home. I made everything work. But because he wasn't like the plumbing had problems, so he would say he fixed it but never did. So he'd be gone for a month and I'd have 4 kids and no running water, no toilets. But his whole family says I'm the one that destroyed the trailer. It's like, no, I was fighting cats and dogs with him to focus his income on, you know, the home needed repairs. You know, you got to maintain the house. You know, like we need food to feed the kids. But I think we were spending something like $700 on a truck that he wanted that we couldn't afford. He would just quit his job. He would work for a month and then just not want to work. Never ever. I was the one that went and applied for most of the jobs he got. I sent in his applications. I was the one that was sort of like his personal secretary to get him the job that he got. And then when we left, he claims bankruptcy and made an email saying now Judy's going to know the meaning of debt. Because he claimed bankruptcy, everything was in both our names. So now all of the family debt is in my name. That I couldn't afford to claim bankruptcy. He put all of his income tax in my name. Because he was an employee of an oil company, and depending on a job he had, if he was a contractor, then I would do the income tax through a corporation and we'd split the income. Because I was his secretary basically and doing his paperwork and doing all of that stuff, right? So we would use the tax benefits from that. But at that particular time, he was an employee. So we couldn't file through the corporation. Told the accountants that this year it was employment income. We can't do it that way. So the accountants knew about it. But he filed his income tax that year behind my back as a corporate income. The accountants knew about it, so they were guilty of tax fraud.
yep.
Okay. Then he signed off on the company. And at the same time all of this was going on, to get him to do that income tax, he paid the accountants something like $700 that he borrowed off his parents. He borrowed $700 off his parents to pay for the income tax to get done. That same month, because bank records, he had $10,000 income. He earned $10,000 that month, but he told his parents he had no money, got another $700 from his parents, and didn't even pay the accountants. Didn't pay any bills, didn't pay any debts, didn't pay nobody, kept all of the money to himself. And so, because he didn't pay his tax bill, the accountant never filed the income tax. So they got off scot-free without tax fraud. Otherwise, they'd be guilty of tax fraud if they actually filed. But because he claimed bankruptcy, the government wiped out all his tax bill. He didn't have to pay any of his taxes. But he got to keep all of his toys. He got to keep the quad, all of the toys that he bought. He got to keep everything. He didn't lose anything. And within a year, he bought a $300,000 house.
A very selfish man.
Well, and I can see where he's coming from. His parents never showed him any kind of love.
Right.
So as long as they were constantly criticizing him all the time, he turned into what they were accusing him of all the time. As long as you're going to say he's no good, he's never going to do anything good. So the only way he got his approval from his parents, which kids want their parents' approval. If a parent doesn't approve, then that's where the child's going to focus on. All my kids knew that I love them unconditionally, so they don't really care. They're not going to pay attention to me. But they'll pay attention to him because they really want his love, because they're lacking the love from him. So they ended up turning into him. But he got a lot of approval from all of his family now that he has a $300,000 house. Didn't pay any of his child support. Didn't pay any of his bills. Claimed bankruptcy between him and his wife, 3 bankruptcies. From what I understand, he's now in financial trouble again, so he's probably going to have to claim bankruptcy again for the 4th time. But there is our government. All of these taxpayers that want to say welfare's the problem. It's like, do you know this? There's people out there that are just sucking the system and not paying their income tax and constantly claiming bankruptcy after they use up all of the credit. And then we wonder why there's a credit problem. It ain't me. I ain't the problem.
It's greed, isn't it?
Well, it's not so much even greed. It was like he needed approval and acceptance from his parents, from society. As long as he had a $300,000 house, everybody accepted him. He was no longer not accepted. It was a fight for him to get acceptance. And he will do whatever it took to get acceptance. So when you see these elite people, that's what they're doing. They're trying to get acceptance. They have all the money. We accept them. We accept them. We think they're smart now that they have all of the money.
Yeah.
Not that they're doing anything good with the money. But
they're just hoarding it.
Trying to get approval. And they've, every one of us think that if you have a big bank account, you're smart. You're wise. Everything that's good in the world is based upon how big your bank account is. I'm smart as long as I have a big bank account. I personally think anybody that's poor is a lot smarter than anybody that's rich. You just may not know it. You just may not know how smart you really are. But you're smart enough to be loyal and honest and hardworking. Or anybody that's got money is not a hard worker. They're liars. They would take the easy road out at all cost and get somebody else to do the work for you. And then, society, it's just our beliefs. As soon as we know who they are, and it's not about hating them. Because if you hate, then they're going to do something else to get attention, to get that acceptance. And that's where it's like evil is inside all of us. Evil is in the cigarette. It's like, I want you dead to take away the pain. So as long as you cause enough pain for these people, they'll want to end it. They'll want to destroy the planet because it'll end all human pain. As long as I create a Holocaust, it will end all suffering.
Yeah, but it's like, you become what you hate, don't you?
Exactly.
Basically turns tables on you.
Exactly. So as soon as you hate, you got the disease that will
Mm,
work against you. Don't hate anybody, especially these elites, especially politicians. Don't hate them
mm.
because you will turn into them.